NHL best bets for Wednesday, April 1st. And yes, it's April 1st, April Fool's Day. I've got nothing for you guys. I'm sure Carmine would potentially have a little dad joke for you to start the show off. I've got nothing for you today, but just hoping for a great day here for us on the show. And it's a small slate, but we're going to try and find you guys some winners. Hope you guys all took advantage of the Tuesday at WagerTalk.com, $5 Tuesday. A handful of handicappers had hockey plays. It was also a full baseball slate, as it usually is. And it's going to be a great day here. Of course, I think we've got, a couple good games we can find some angles on, but we also have one game that I was saying to Brian Leonard before the show, potentially the highest odds of the season so far. Today's show, just myself and Brian Leonard, as Carmine is mourning the loss of Italy yesterday. Could not believe it. We thought one team would take a red card. Did not think that team would be Italy. They make it all the way to PKs, and they miss two of the first three shots. Unbelievable. But Carm's got some stuff going on today. He'll be back tomorrow, though, guys, in all seriousness. No worries about that. Today's games, Canucks, Avalanche, Blues, Kings, and Ducks taking on the Sharks. Before I bring Brian in, I will just mention, guys, I got to do it. 10 straight in the NHL. We did it. 10 straight. And number 10 was plus 105. And I'll tell you what, that was generous because some of you could have got plus 110, plus 115. 10 straight winners on the Hurricanes. Team total over 3.5 goals. Thank you all for joining me yesterday on $5 Tuesday. And we also have a great deal going right now for the rest of the NHL year, which you guys can join us on. But Brian, look, we've got a day right now where there's afternoon baseball. There's only a few hockey games. We'll do our best to dive into these few games, and then we got to get ready to, finish off and polish off our handicaps for the rest of these baseball games. Man, how are you?
I'm doing well. I've already put in my baseball work. I've got 2 plays up for clients right now. I did the show earlier. If you want to go back and look at total basis, we had a nice show there. We're all trying to cut back on the time here into 45 minutes or less, and it takes a while to get going, but only having 3 games here helps. But yeah, you always feel good when you win your your Tuesday $5 play. We had Winnipeg yesterday, 4% on Winnipeg. Had to go to overtime to do it. I thought I was in better shape than that, but we got the victory, and it's nice to cash coming into the Wednesday card.
It absolutely is. And as much as I always say that it's it's easier to find a winner sometimes on the big slates, sometimes when you put in that extra work, we can try and find something to do with these big slates. So without further ado, Brian, here we are, minus 481. Colorado Avalanche. And if I pull up odds logic here, you just take a look at the opening number for this one. Like, it's not saying it's disrespectful, because this is about as favorite to win the Stanley Cup and favorite to win the number 1 overall pick as it goes. But when I look at this number here, Brian, I saw some spots even showing a bit higher than this at some points. But right now, I see Circa's at 435, so a bit lower than some spots. You've got South Point is at 450. And then, of course, you got FanDuel at 490, DraftKings 470. The thing I find interesting, and I want to pick your brain about these, Brian, you've been doing this a long time, and just the betting space overall. Games like this with moneyline sports, I know a lot of it is about, maybe parlays, liability, or puck lines, or all this stuff. But how can you explain some books being at 440 and some being at 470 and some being at 490? Either way, the books think the Avalanche are going to get their butts kicked.
Well, the problem you have, like running Vegas, for example, where for the most part, they don't ban anybody. They are always concerned about the wise guys are not going to be playing Colorado in this game. They'll be playing the underdog Vancouver Canucks. And, if you take a look at the recent history, out of the last 6 games they played, Vancouver's won 3 of those. So they've played very well against Colorado. Problem is they're not very good right now. But a lot of the ones that pump up the numbers for the offshores, those are the places that ban. anybody who is really good at what they do and they think you have an advantage. So they can do that because they know they're not going to get any buyback from the wise guys because they've kicked out all the wise guys. So the general public is going to look at this and think it's free money. And I've done this so long that anytime it's free money, it's a loser. And I'm not saying it's going to happen in this game, but every time I have tried to play like a $3 favorite in baseball or something to that effect, and I'm playing like 4 games, and I figure, oh, that's the winner. That's the one that usually gives me the most trouble. So that's why you're finding different lines here. But Vancouver just played Vegas, and Vegas had the new coaching change. I don't think Vegas played any better in that game than they have been, but they had the advantage over Vancouver because Vancouver at this point, they have 50 points on the season. The next worst is 68 for the Chicago Blackhawks. The season is over for Vancouver. If you're a player on Vancouver, you're just itching to get on vacation. It's been one of those seasons that you just can't wait for it to end. Colorado is right now 8 points ahead of Dallas, and they've got an additional 2 games to play. So they basically got first place in the West locked up. So that is a concern if you're going to lay a 450 favorite to have a team like that is already locked it up and for the most part are in the position where they need to be in. So there's no way I can lay this number with Colorado. The only advantage of watching the game is you get to see the Avalanche in Quebec Nordique jerseys. And when I was growing up in Cleveland, we didn't have a hockey team. I rooted for Buffalo and I rooted for Quebec. And so it's nice to see those jerseys coming back. But other than that, I have no interest in betting this game.
Well, Brian, it kind of reminds me, I know a lot of people that bet the LA Dodgers were always talking about how when you bet the Dodgers, when they win by 2, at least. And I am like the farthest thing from a puck line better because, as you know, I love the team totals because you just worry about one team. The problem is, in this game, you're not going to get over 3.5. Over 4.5 is a bad price. You don't want to take over 5.5 in a hockey game. So what's funny is that you look at the recent games for this Canucks team. Vegas covers the puck line. Calgary wins by 4. The Kings win by 4. The Ducks cover the puck line. The Blues cover the puck line. The Lightning cover the puck line. I don't want to bore you here because we've got baseball games to watch in 2 hours here. But the thing is that every single team is covering the puck line here. I know this might sound a bit crazy to say, but I've noticed a trend where a lot of the time when you see a price as wild as this one, it's almost as if it's a soccer match and you've got the best team in the world against one of the worst teams, and the worst team just parks the bus. It's almost like you don't want to get embarrassed. And I'll tell you, like I've seen this even, I cover some junior hockey quite a bit, not as much as I used to, and in junior hockey, with the way it works, especially after the trade deadline, there's a huge separation from the top to the bottom. So you can see sometimes these bottom tier teams, they're almost setting up the good old fashioned New Jersey Devils trap. Like they're lining up 4 players on the blue line and they're saying almost like we don't want to embarrass ourselves. So with that said, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I would lean towards the under 6.5 in this game. You've got Colorado. It's been picking their number. They've been putting up goals left and right. They just made Calgary look absolutely ridiculous. And you know this, Brian. We talked about the public being on one side. There's going to be props on this game. And everyone's going to have their goal scorers and their parlays. And I actually hit a same game parlay on PuckTime the last time this team played Colorado. I don't think I want to do it today. So I don't know if it's contrarian necessarily, but I think I'll take the under here. Let us know, guys, in the comments section or live chat how you play this game. Because you know what? We have seen crazier things happen, Brian, in the sport of the NHL.
Well, I do know that Colorado, since March 20th, is the highest scoring team in the NHL. So they are playing very well offensively. Vancouver, as you mentioned, a team that may pack it in. What do you think about the first period? I would think Vancouver in the first period, may the under in that may be something to take a look at, because if they do fall behind and they do just kick it out and just try to limit the damage, that as the game goes on and Colorado's up, maybe 2-3-0, it may be a hard time to get to that the higher goal standard. So, what do you think about the first period in this one, playing it under?
I agree I like that, but again, I think that I kind of see this game being one of those ones where, let's say Colorado goes up 2-0 in the first period. It's one of those things. I know it might sound funny, but I'm almost like playing the angle of Vancouver just doesn't want to get blown out here. So we'll see. But to your point, the best, once the score is 0-0 at the start of the game, and to your point, they're going to try and keep it as tight as they can. So I do like that point, because you can take the under 1.5 in the first period. Hey, we might, as sports bettors, see minus 400. Vancouver doesn't know they're minus. They're big underdogs. They just know they're playing a hockey game tonight. So that actually could be a look. That could be a look as well. I just think that when it becomes 3-1 or 4-1, I'm banking on, like we had a comment here from Rich saying 5-1. And the funny thing is 5-1 still hits my under. Like Vancouver could still get so embarrassed, but the under could still win. So, but we'll see what happens. I mean, you're talking about a team that's given up at least 4 goals in 5 of their last 6 games. It's just pretty embarrassing. Canucks have scored 11 goals in their last 6 games. All losses, given up 29. Yeah, pretty tough there. Pretty tough there. Brian, we've talked about it a lot on the show the past couple weeks. Was of course with the NHL playoff race. But I'll tell you what, this Detroit team, I got to bring this up, and hopefully we don't have Johnny Detroit just absolutely cutting off my feed right now. But I got to bring this up because, we talk a lot in baseball about fall baseball, right? Like I remember, going apple picking with my girlfriend, and that's fall or autumn, or depending on whatever you call it, and because it's your apple picking. And the Blue Jays had that big series against the Yankees. And that's when Kirk had the grand slam to win the series, or they maybe swept the series. And it helps you punch your ticket to the postseason and so on and so forth. Well, you could do so well in October in hockey, November, December, January, but you got to do well in March. March is the equivalent of fall baseball, right? Check this out, Brian. This doesn't get any worse than this for the Detroit Red Wings. Look at that graphic. In March 2023, 5-9-1. 2024, 3-9-2. 2025, 4-10. And 2026, 5-7-2.
They've only won 3 games out of their last 10. Every other team in the East, including the Rangers and the Panthers and the Maple Leafs, the 3 teams with the worst record right now, have all had a better record than that. So they're just a team that, maybe they're a good regular season team, but, sorry, Johnny, I don't want to see the Red Wings in the playoffs. They've clearly shown that they cannot win when the pressure's on. And despite the 39-35 record on the season, they've been outscored on the year. Yeah, the Red Wings are not a team that I want to see in the play. I'd rather see the Flyers in there. Flyers are playing with really good hockey right now, and they got the same amount of points as Detroit does.
You're right, and they play the right way. They play defensively. Mm-hmm. I just had to bring this up because, and what's funny is that I crapped on that team all year long. And then when it came down to it, I said, I think they're going to make the playoffs. And then they just did. Because it's almost like when a team does you wrong for so long, you might as well hop on their bandwagon. And one of my friends said to me, Brian, he goes, Andrew, just wait for it. The fall off is coming. The fall off is coming. And then it finally came for the Red Wings. You got a question coming at you here, Brian, about the Winnipeg Jets. You catch a ticket on them before. Somebody asking you if they're going to make the playoffs. And I'm just going to pull up their schedule here because, this is a team that's not going away here.
Yep. They're 1 point behind the Preds right now. The Preds are at 77 with the same amount of games. The Kings right behind at 76, but they've got one more game to play. And San Jose's right there, 75 with 2 more games to play. But the Winnipeg Jets, 76 points, so they're 1 point behind with the same amount of games as Nashville. And the Jets, for a long time, were one of those teams that were just highly outscored on the season. But they're only down 15 on the season now, and they've been able to play consistent on the ice, home and away, not blowing anybody away. But you take a look at Nashville on the road; they've got 22 losses on the road this year and only 14 wins. That's the same as Winnipeg. So yeah, the Winnipeg Jets right now, they had that one streak where obviously the goalie was out, and when you've got an elite goalie and he's out, they did not make any headway during that time. But since then, they've been right back there. And this is a team, and we talk about it all the time. We got certain teams that are really good in the regular season. Winnipeg's been one of those teams. Carolina is one of those teams. But when you get to the playoffs, they struggle. They've been down this road before, and it wouldn't surprise me if they make the playoffs. They're right in there. All these teams are so tight right now. You can go down to, St. Louis, which is like 13th. They're still in it. They're only 4 points behind. So this is wide open right here in the West. Between they've got three good teams out here. They've got Colorado, they've got Dallas, and Minnesota. They can compete with anybody in the East. In fact, they may be better. At least Dallas and Colorado may be better than anybody in the East. But in the West, the rest of the Western Conference is pretty blah. So yeah, they can sneak in there.
Yeah, after the top couple teams, it's just up to whoever wants it the most in the last 7 or 8 games, 6 or 7 games. It's winding down. I believe April 18th, Brian, might be the final day here where we get the playoffs rolling, those 18, 20, 20, 21st around that time. So great question from Lorenzo. Great stuff from Brian. And of course, he says, number 10th, smash that like button, guys. Hit the like button. Show some love to us here on PuckTime. I think we've had a pretty good week on the show for you guys. I think so. So let's try and keep making some money, giving more winners here. Okay, next game up, Brian, here. We have St. Louis. This team's, they're getting some good goaltending, but they're coming off a game where, they gave up 5 goals, and the rest advantage does not really work well for them in this one. How do you feel about this game? Yeah,
that loss to San Jose really hurt them, but I still like the team. You're looking at take a look at the Kings. The Kings right now, they're set at 76 points in 73 games. St. Louis 73 points in 73 games. You would have to think, based on being in 13th right now with just 9 games to go, I hate to say must-win games, but you'd have to think if St. Louis loses this game and they don't get a point, this could be their season. So I expect a really good effort out of St. Louis. They're 6-4 the last 10 games, whereas the Kings are 3-7. In fact, the Kings right now are on a 3-12 run at home. They've been really bad at home all year. They're 10-25 at home this season. This is a situation where I think there's some value here on the underdog. I prefer St. Louis here, and I think the price is pretty advantageous. They played the Kings twice this year, and I believe both games they lost in overtime. So they play them very tough. They were right there for both those games. Now, they were both, I believe, in St. Louis, so this one's on the road. But if you take a look at the Kings have been much better on the road than they've been at home. This is the one game I do have some interest in. I may give it out to clients. I do like St. Louis in this contest.
I think when you look at this game, I got to go back to you with this, Brian. How much do you think the price has to do with the rest advantage? One team playing Saturday, one team playing on Monday. Does that factor in that much? I mean, this time of year in the NHL, it has to, right?
You would think so a little bit, and I understand that. But right now, when you're in the playoff hunt and you can't take any days off, you would expect to get better efforts every time out, as opposed to a team that's either locked it up or is in really good shape. Like Anaheim is the next game on the schedule. They're pretty set when it comes to the playoffs, but San Jose is a team that needs to win. And as I said before, just because you need to win doesn't mean you win. So the rest situation means more in games in which teams do not have to win every game. And that's the situation that we find St. Louis and San Jose in at this point.
Well, we got a comment talking about LA at home, and I'll tell you what, I was looking at it before the show. You just always find it really comical when a team is better on the road than they are at home, and that's the case here. This LA Kings team on home ice, minus 24 goal differential. On the road, a +1 goal differential. They have given up 110 goals against at home this season. They've scored just 86 at home this season. Hockey is literally designed to have home ice advantage for teams because you get the last change. And I talk so much about that when it comes to the playoffs. And I know, Brian, you've talked about it before, how in the playoffs we can get value on the road team because of that. And the funny thing is, I feel like that goes into it as well. The books are giving us value on the road team here, and the home team has been a bad home team all year. It's like, hey, guys, we're going to give them a home price, but they have been awful at home. And I think Joel Hofer's confirmed. Joel Hofer has been unbelievable. I'll pull up my numbers here. Where is it? Let's take a look at this. This is just unbelievable. Last 3 starts, .932 save percentage. Goals against per game, 1.67. I mean, you just can't argue this right now. And if I want to keep on the under train, that's probably the way I would go. But the LA Kings give up so many goals at home, we might as well just take St. Louis here, Brian. So I'm on the same page as you are.
Yeah, it's strange. You've got LA's in the second of 7 straight home games. And they're not playing elite teams. They play St. Louis, they play Nashville, they play Toronto, Nashville again, Vancouver, and the Edmonton Oilers, who, besides missing one of their best players, have started to play pretty good hockey. But you would think that LA is in great shape right now when it comes to the playoff positioning. And then they got to play Seattle, Vancouver, and Calgary on the road. So the schedule points to LA having a really easy time, but they've been so bad at home, like the Rangers. Do you really want to lay them as a favorite? I don't at this point. I just don't trust the Kings at home. And in this situation with St. Louis is at least shown a lot of heart lately. And I prefer the St. Louis side.
All right, Brian. Obviously, the NHL season winding down, but the playoffs are long when it comes to playoff hockey, of course. We got a great deal going on right now. $199 NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, rest of the regular season for free. No extra cost. The sooner you buy it, the sooner you'll get more plays of the regular season. But we all know this package is mostly just for the playoffs. So, guys, Brian has been phenomenal, not just for this year, but for years in the NHL. I'm feeling pretty good as well on the way into the playoffs. 10 wins in a row in hockey for me, seeing the board pretty well. $199. So you got 5% plays for $35. You got series picks, you got future picks, you got side totals, prop bets, or whatever. I would say, Brian, this is a pretty good deal considering the playoffs these days go all the way up until June, it feels like.
Yeah, the playoffs. I was just talking on the other show, the baseball show, and we were talking about playoffs in Tokyo Brandon was asking me about it because he doesn't handicap hockey or really the NBA. And he says, what do I feel about the playoffs? I said, the playoffs are great in hockey and NBA. Number one, in the NBA, you know who's going to play. But number two, all the teams, for the most part, every team that makes the playoffs in hockey is got a shot. And we see it all the time. We see one of the teams that is an 8 seed knocking off a 1 seed once in a while. You don't see that very much in the NBA. NBA, I like it because everybody plays when they're supposed to play. Hockey, you've got live dogs in hockey all the time. And if you watch the games and you know how the game played out, in fact, you take a look at, you use it a lot, the expected goals, the high danger chances, things like that. Just because a team wins does not mean they were the better team in that game. And so that gives us a lot of people who only play the hockey playoffs because it's what's on and they don't really follow hockey during the regular season. They will just see, well, who won last game? Oh, they're the better team. Look at the record. They're the better team. Hockey is one team. Every night you're going to find a team that is a big underdog that can upset somebody. And that's why I love the playoffs.
It's just so nice to follow from a game-to-game basis. And as you mentioned, you can learn something from one game to the next. And whether you want to back the same team again or go against them, $1.99, guys, WT.buzz/BL or WT.buzz/AM. Looking forward to a great run in the NHL. Okay, one more game to get to here, Brian. Then we can enjoy our afternoons, watch some baseball. You know what I like? Wednesdays are probably my quietest day, just all the work that I do. And if you get prepped up for MLB in time, you can enjoy the games. And then I start prepping for NHL the next day. So it's kind of nice to have some day baseball. So we got to finish up the last game on the board here. And are you ready to talk once again about the San Jose Sharks? Because this team, they're not going away. They're going to end their season on a fun note. And some of the work that I do with the hockey news, we did a video, and I just could not believe this, talking about Macklin Celebrini reaching the 100-point mark in his second season, I believe. The next closest player, Brian, on his team, he has 55 points. That is incredible what this young man is doing.
Yeah, we thought when Bedard came out that Bedard was going to be the guy that would do it, and he's gotten off to a slow start. Now he's on a lousy team, but San Jose was on. San Jose's been a lousy team, so he's been able to pump them up. Yeah, you're getting them at a slight underdog. It's actually close to pick them in some places, and San Jose getting that win last time out, that helped because they've lost some games that they really needed as of late. But very similar to the Kings, San Jose is in the middle of 6 straight home games. They win the first one. They play Anaheim tonight, and they host Toronto tomorrow, and they play Nashville, Chicago, and the Edmonton Oilers. So they've been better at home than they've been on the road, but Anaheim has been much better at home than they've been on the road. And I was talking to a guy the other day. I was out, and he's a basketball handicapper, doesn't really follow hockey very well. And I told him, I said, what you need to do when you get to the hockey playoffs is get rid of all the overtime information, the 3-on-3s, the shootouts. Look at the Anaheim Ducks in shootouts, 8-0. Look at San Jose in shootouts, 2-1 or 2-1 on the season. So you take away those 6 wins just from the shootouts, and Anaheim loses 12 points, puts them at 75 right now, and we're looking at San Jose's got 75. So why is San Jose the home underdog here? If I'm playing, I'm taking the home underdog here in San Jose. Anaheim, as I pointed out, they're at 87 points. They probably won't catch Minnesota at 94. They're a couple ahead of Edmonton. So 87 puts them in a good position, and the games don't mean as much for Anaheim as they do for San Jose, and Anaheim's got a pretty easy schedule going forward. So I happen to like the home team in this game.
It's interesting because for me, I look at that game and I do think that Anaheim's going to be pissed off with that game that they lost against Toronto. As you know, I'm not a huge quotes guy, but I will mention them every now and then when it means something to me. And Leo Carlsson, forward for the Ducks, he didn't even mean to come across cocky, I don't think, but he pretty much said, like, hey, I think we should have beat this Leafs team by 3 goals. And they lost in overtime. And he said they should have beat them by 3 goals. So they're a little bit frustrated. Gauthier did get injured for them, so that could be a little bit of a problem. The number is a little bit interesting for me. And you know, the number seems a little bit weird, at least the way I'm looking. If you look at it standings wise, and then you ask yourself why we're getting a pick 'em here, it's like, hey, this seems a bit weird to me. Probably enough to keep me off. But if I were to play this one, I hit one yesterday on the show, Brian, and I'll try and hit one again today. I like the first period over. When teams are pissed off, I look for goals early. Unless they give up, 7 or 8 goals, something ridiculous, maybe I'll look for an under. But I think Anaheim's version of being angry is coming out hot, and I would not be shocked between these two teams to see goals early on.
Well, I did have Toronto against Anaheim in their last game is, I think, a 165 underdog. So I was very happy with the way they turned out. I will say that Anaheim in this month, they've won 4 out of 5 on the road. So they are playing better on the road than they had before. But they did lose to Edmonton, a team that's in playoff contention right now, and they beat, Vancouver and Calgary. So, but, when they were at home last time, before they played Toronto, they were able to knock off Buffalo, and Buffalo hasn't been the same team since. So we'll have to see. But I like this Anaheim team, but I just think with their schedule coming up that there's more games that are more important to them. And as I say, they got St. Louis, Calgary, Nashville, and San Jose at home coming, and Vancouver coming up right after this game. Those are the key games for them. If they win at home, they're in great shape. If they split at home, they're in great shape. So San Jose is the team that needs this victory. And they're very much like St. Louis. If they don't get this victory, season may be over for San Jose. Now, as I said, just because you're in a must-win situation doesn't mean you're going to win. Chances are, if you're in a must-win situation, you must not be very good. But there's a lot of teams out west that are just not very good right now.
And I'm very interested to see how the wild card teams do in the playoffs for the West, because the wild card teams for the East, Boston, Columbus, whoever it is, they could do well against Buffalo or Tampa or Carolina, or hey, even my Montreal Canadiens. Man, oh man, how about those Habs? 6 in a row for the Canadiens, 8-3 their last 11. I had to bring that up. 31 minutes in, Brian. Didn't bring them up quite yet. But yeah, first period over for me. Maybe, just maybe. I would be on the other side, but I think the number is a little bit weird for me. So it would keep me off. TJ says, good to know Wednesday is your light day after buying your all access 3-day. I know you were with me the last 2 days, TJ, and it's my light day as far as shows are concerned. I'll be very clear when I say that. Tuesday, I had a show at 9 a.m., at 10 a.m., at 11 a.m., at 1 p.m., and at 2 o'clock. So it's just a lot lighter of a workload day for me for shows is concerned, which probably is better because it means more time for handicapping, Brian, when we really think about it like that. So with that being said, I am continuing to look at numbers. I'm awaiting goaltender confirmation. I am unsure if we are going for winner number 11 tonight or not. I am involved in baseball play. But Brian, look, we've talked a lot about this, and we're talking a lot about specials. And hey, if you guys watch the show and you don't buy the picks, you're not interested in all access packages, all we ask of you is you hit the like button and you show some love and show some appreciation. But if you are interested, I won't speak for you, Brian, but I think the best thing for people to do, especially this time of year, is to take advantage of this deal right here. Triple play, all access baseball pass, 3 days, $49. Every single baseball play that we put out, they're going to get into one package. Nothing worse than you have a best bet up as well as 2 other 2% plays. You go 2-1, but you lose the big one. Everyone thinks you had a bad day. You want people getting every single play you release.
Yeah, you definitely do. I've got 2 plays up in baseball already. May add more as the day goes on. This is a great deal. 3 days for $49. I'm number 1 in the history of WagerTalk in MLB net profit as well as NHL net profit. I've been pretty consistent overall. But to be honest with you, it seemed last few years, it seems I over prepare for the baseball season, and it takes me like a week or 2 to get going. I've gotten off to a slow start so far. I split yesterday. But I really like the card. I'm not going to throw away all the work I've done for the last 3 months in baseball. But it's a good time to join in. If you join in for myself, exactly, you're nothing but the best of from this way out. You missed out on some losers, but the history shows that I'll get you the money as the season goes on.
Hey, that's probably the best time to jump in right now. Then You're just sharpening things up. That's for sure. Yesterday, we did miss on the. I'll tell you what. This is the reason why I love the first fives, Brian, is because I talked about first 5 or full game under with the Rays game, and first 5 did well. McClanahan played well in his first start back, and of course, the game just goes off in the second half of the game. Had a free play with the Orioles game over, but it was the first time of the year where I bet on my favorite team, and I don't do it often, but they're a pretty good team, the Blue Jays. And I also broke a rule that I'm sure you agree with me on this, taking a run line for a team at home. And I did that, and I was so happy to see them put a few runs up in the 7th inning. So We hit on Monday, we hit on Tuesday, and we're hoping to be back in action today. 2 plays baseball so far. Let you guys know on Twitter if we get involved with any more. No same game parlay for me today. No player props, but I will mention this. Yesterday, plus 145, Jason Robertson, power play points. So we hit a plus 430 parlay on Monday, and on Tuesday, a plus 145. I'm sure people will be complaining, Brian, that it wasn't a plus 400 yesterday. But that's exactly how it goes. That will do it for Puck Time. We'll have Carmine back in action tomorrow. He's kind of like Trey Savage. He was feeling a little bit sore, so he had to get warmed up, go get some physiotherapy going, and he'll be back in the lineup, back in the starter's role, hopefully ASAP. Thanks to Brian for being here. Thanks to all of you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.